Alright, in this video, I'm going to show you guys how to actually print in Q4 with branded dropshipping. So basically in this video, I'll be going over everything, if I can fucking get over here, from product criteria, product research, sourcing the product, how to price your product, testing and ads, what your testing stats should look like day 1 through 3, and then email and SMS, which is very important for Q4, and then also what offers you guys should be running. So we'll get into it right now. So for product criteria, this is what we'll go over first. You want it to be a seasonal problem because this is Q4. So we want to be selling a seasonal problem. So two examples of seasonal problems would be like heat and comfort. Everybody wants to be warm. Everybody wants to be comfortable because obviously October, November, December, these are cold months in most states. So we really want to hit on this. So like some examples could be like a heated foot massager, blanket hoodies, stuff like that, stuff where it's really solving a seasonal problem. The next thing we'll go over is emotional. So because it's the gift giving season, like Christmas, some people give gifts for Thanksgiving, people are buying gifts for like Black Friday, shit like that. A lot of people are buying gifts. So the emotional part is like if it's, let's say it's a necklace, right, and it has a picture of the mom or the boyfriend or the girlfriend in the necklace, that's a very emotional product because it's really drawing the emotion and the feelings that they both have for each other into one. Same thing with like the picture frames, like the slidable picture frames where you can put a whole bunch of pictures from your phone or from your computer and download it all onto this. So it's just a sliding picture frame of you and your mom or you and your girlfriend, something like that. A very like emotional, the product is driving an emotion out of the customer. Another thing would be a giftable product. So like game sticks or like toys. So something that you can give somebody and they would actually use it. So like the game stick, for example, this is just something that you plug a little like hard drive or like USB thing into your TV with the stick, and now you can play all these games on TV. It's a very giftable product, something that people would use. Same thing with like kids' toys. Not a lot of people talk about this, but kids' toys absolutely print during Q4 because a bunch of moms are looking to get their kids something for Christmas. Because like Christmas, more of like the big present giving, like if you can remember back to your childhood, you used to get hella toys, hella gifts when you were a kid. Now that you're older, you probably get like some clothes and like whatever. So giftable products, like if you're targeting moms who want to give toys for their kids, this is really good as well. And then another thing is validating it by Google Trends. So if you search up these products, like if I were to take heat foot massager and take that over to Google Trends, you'll see that it's trending during Q4. So if I go over here to Google Trends and then I just paste in heated foot massager and then I change it to the past 5 years, it's going to show that it's spiking every single Q4. As you guys see, late October going into November. Here it had a little bit of spike right at the start of October and then really shot up again in November through December. You want to look for like this type of graph where the product is actually shooting up during the Q4 time, not shooting up like year round. Like if this product was like here, all the way through the entire year, that basically tells you it's not a very seasonal product, or the purchase volume for this product isn't going and spiking in Q4. It's just selling year round. So you really want to look for like this type of graph when you're looking to validate your product with Google Trends. Now we'll get into the product research side. So where I do product research for Q4 is just CaloData and then the TikTok burner or TikTok shop burner. So basically with CaloData, everybody knows CaloData already. You're just looking for products that are trending on TikTok shop, but we're using, instead of the main product criteria that I'll talk about in other videos for more evergreen products, we're using this product criteria, trying to find something that's a seasonal problem, emotion, giftable, stuff like that. And then another thing you could use, I don't really use it too much, but I mean, if you're bored, instead of like scrolling on TikTok or scrolling on IG Reels, just switch over to like your TikTok burner, TikTok shop burner, and just mindlessly scroll through there and see if any like products that hit that criteria pop up when you're doing that. I'll kind of go into CaloData just to show you guys how I kind of look for these Q4 products. So right now I'm just setting it to 7 days just because I like to see like what products are popping off most recently. And then I'll just kind of scroll through here. So I'll just kind of scroll through here for you guys looking for like a product that I would think would do well during Q4. A lot of these right now are going to be just seasonal products that are doing well because we still aren't at Q4 yet. It's the middle of September. but I will do my best to try to find one for you guys right here. All right, so I was scrolling for a while. I kind of didn't want to bring you guys through that just because it was boring trying to look for a Q4 product right now. But this is a Q4 product that I haven't really seen before. So it's some like heated like hunting chairs. So like for people who like are go hunting, like obviously you're sitting down for a while because like you're waiting for the animal to come to like your position so you can take the shot. So I just saw this product, and obviously it solves heat, right, and comfort. So this is a product I'm looking at. I'm like, all right, this could probably be a good product. I already see that it had a little bit of spike here, which it spiked a little bit earlier, but it just started. Like, it's still a new product. But I saw this spike, but then it crashed right back down. But now that Q4 is coming around, it's trending right back up. So this is a product that I would look deeper into. I'll bring you guys back to Miro just to show you guys like what it hits. So obviously seasonal product, heating, comfort, like we just talked about. Also giftable, because like let's say like a wife wants to give her husband or her son who hunts a gift. This would be a pretty good giftable product because it's something they would actually use. So it hits two things. It hits that it is giftable, so we can check that off. It's giftable, and it's a seasonal product. Now you guys are wondering, oh, how do I source this product? So how we're going to go about sourcing is we're going to use this site called 1688. So I'll just pop up here, 1688. What 1688 is basically just the manufacturers and where everybody gets their product from. Like every product that you see on AliExpress, this is where they get the product from. AliExpress, the reason why nobody, like the top dropshippers don't use that is because it's just upmarked, so it's easier for us Westerners to source those products as you can source through here. Unlike this, you have to go through a private agent, and I'll talk about that a little later about how you can get a private agent. But how you find the product on this is I'll just go back over here. I'll get this image of the product, save that real quick, come right back over here, and then they have a little just like image search, so you can just throw in the image and then search for it. And then now you'll see like a bunch of images that kind of pop up like it. You're gonna have to scroll through here a little bit so you can actually find the right product, because you don't want to like sell somebody just like what's up here, like this just chair that doesn't have like any of the heating components on it either. So you just kind of want to scroll through here until you find your product. It might take you a few pages to find it. But once you find that product, the next thing you would do is you're going to want to go to a supplier. So I'll kind of draw you guys a quick little thing about like what a supplier is and like what they do. So let's say this is you right here, right? This is you. You're the store. You're the store owner, right? Basically, what you're going to do is when a customer purchases from you, so let's say this is your customer, they're going to purchase from your store. That order is going to go over to your private supplier who's in the middle. He's going to go to 1688, which is the factory, so 1688, which is where you're getting your product from, and then you're paying him to go get the product, so you're giving him money to go get the product. Then he's going to 1688 to place that order, and then 1688 is going to ship it to your customer. But the reason why you have to have this private agent is because you need a Chinese driver's license to be able to buy and ship products out from 1688. So that's why you have to work with this guy. If you guys don't have a private agent already, you can join my free Discord, which is in my bio, and just DM me or just send in the chat, hey, I need a private supplier, and then I'll just DM you his WhatsApp. Also, another thing I want to talk about is you want the product to be more of a lightweight product. So as that chair is kind of in between being heavier and being light. So what I normally look for is for it to be for under 4 to 5 kg. Basically, every kg will be an extra $6 to ship. So if it's 4 kg, it's going to be 24 plus whatever the cost of the product is. So you guys kind of understand why you want it like the lighter weight it can be, the better. But obviously, most of your products are going to fall between the 2 and 5 kg range. Also, another thing you want to make sure is that it's not too big of a product. Obviously, again, this is going a little bit against the product that I just found. But obviously, you don't have to die by these, because obviously if the product hits the criterias but it misses some of these and it has perceived value, which we'll get into later about perceived value, having it be a little bit of a heavier product and be big isn't the end of the world too. But I should just share this with you guys so you guys just kind of know for like when we go into pricing is you don't want it to be too big, because they do something called volumetric weight, which is they take the size of the product plus the weight of the product, and that equals how much it's going to be to actually ship the product. So like, let's say you had a 3 kg product and it was $18 to ship, but it was like a massive product, like it was like a vacuum cleaner or something, like something that's going to take up a lot of space. That's going to up the price just because they have to ship it in like a bigger box. So it's going to take up more storage on like the shipping and stuff. So your price is obviously going to be higher. So this is just something to keep in the back of your mind when you are thinking about getting a product. But again, you don't have to live by this. I have a product right now that is doing very well for me, and it is around 5 kg, and it's a very big product. So the shipping's not cheap, but because it has a high perceived value, my margins are very good, and I can price it as a very high priced product. So now we'll kind of go down over here to pricing. So with pricing, you want to have a 3x markup minimum. Ideally, you want it to be 4 to 3, and I'll kind of explain it down here. So this is just an example of if you were pricing at a 3x. So let's say you got this product for $10 cost to ship. Cost to ship just means your product price plus shipping price plus agent fees. So you got a $10 cost to ship. You mark it up by 3, that's $30. But if you have a $30 product that costs you $10 to fulfill, your little buffer area, what you have to acquire customers, is only $20. So basically, to be break even, you have to acquire a customer at $20 in ad spend, which is cost per acquisition. But if we multiplied it by 5 and did a 5x markup, now you see that you have a $40 buffer. So that's a lot more money to acquire a customer. But going into like perceived value and stuff, I think I put it down here. Yeah. Does it have perceived value? Because you can't mark up like a rag. You can't sell a rag for $50. So you want the product to have some perceived value so you can hit that like 5x markup. I also put down here about shipping a higher quality product. So if your cost to ship was $30 and you just marked it up 3x, that's $90. So now if you're selling a product for $90 plus the cost per ship is $30, you still have that $30 little hover room to acquire a customer. That's why when the product quality is a little bit higher and it might cost you a little bit more to actually source the product, that's fine because you're still getting a big buffer. I normally want this buffer to be more around $40 to $50 or more, just because it gives you more room in your ad account for your cost per acquisition, which is very big when it comes to like scaling and everything like that. You want to have a lot of margin, so when those rise, you still have margin where you're profitable and you don't end up digging yourself in a hole that you can't get out of. All right, next we'll go into testing and ads. So for ads, when you're testing, what I want you guys to do is, especially if nobody else is running the product, literally just come down here, look at these top creatives and just take them one-to-one. But obviously use your own intuition if it's like actually a good ad or not. So we'll click into this one. I'll just watch it for you guys.
Deer season just got a whole lot more comfortable thanks to Tideweed's heated hunting chair. It swivels 360 degrees silently, and it's heated. Even comes with its own power bank. You got a high, medium, and low heating temperature. The legs are on ball joints, so unlevel ground, it's not a problem.
See, this one is a good creative and a good ad to run because it's just a very raw and authentic UGC. It's just a guy who is basically the target audience. That's the one thing that you want. You always want the person in your ad to fit with like the target demographic that you're trying to hit. And it's just him sitting down, talking about the product, what he likes, very natural review, just natural to the For You page style video. So you want to look for videos like this.
You don't have to freeze your butt off this deer season thanks to Tideweed's heated hunting. This hunting chair makes it simple and
this is more what you want to look for. Like, you don't want to look for the people who are just, it just has music in the background and they're just kind of showing off the product, talking about the features, or somebody saying just flash sale and the only thing they're talking about is a sale. Use your own intuition. Find good ads that are actually just raw UGC people just talking about the product, what they like, how this helps them in their day-to-day life. It's just stuff like that. And basically what you'll do is you'll just take this, come here, save video as, and then just download it. Obviously, I'm not going to download it because I'm not going to run this product right now, but that's just basically what you would do. Next, we'll go into the testing campaign, and then I'll also show you guys the testing metrics, and I'll also show you guys how you actually should set up your ad account. I'll go over that before I go into the metrics and stuff. But basically, how I test products is I'll just have one broad CBO, and then every ad set, I'll just put in one ad. So basically, you have a broad CBO, one ad set, ad one. Ad set 2, ad 2. And it's basically, you're just repeating that process. So this would be ad set 3 and then ad 3. I'll go over to Meta to just kind of show you guys how to set this up. So basically the only thing you'll be doing is just making a sales campaign, and then you can just kind of name this whatever. Normally I like to name it my product name, so I could just say heating chair, and then I like to do the region I'm about to sell in, so North America. Then basically leave all of this the same, and then the ad budget I recommend everybody start with is $150. You can go down to $100, but I recommend $150 to $200. This will just make more sense when I get to talking about the testing metrics, because you have to spend money to get data. So the more money you spend, the more data you'll get quicker. So that's just kind of the game of meta ads. So basically the only thing you're doing here is just turning this to $150 a day, leave everything else the same, and you'll come over here and this will be ad set 1. Whoops, ad set 1. And then you're gonna wanna change your conversion location to just website. And then obviously you'll select your pixel in here. So you'll just select your pixel in there, and then conversion rate will always just be purchase. And then always just make sure you set your thing for the next day at 12 a.m. That's just what I always do. It just works the best because you let Meta spend your entire budget throughout the entire day instead of having to cram it into a tight period. And then basically just leave all of these the same. And then for ad level, you just go add 1. And you'll just select your Facebook page and Instagram page. I always do flexible here. Turn this off, multi-advertising, you don't want that on. And then basically you can just put your ad in here. So you'll put your ad 1 right here. And then primary text, just you can use ChatGPT to help you write this, but also normally during Q4, a lot of times ads will get restricted based off what's in their primary text. So if your ads are getting restricted, it's fine to just leave this blank. And then with headlines, normally I throw my offer in here, but in Q4, sometimes like if you say buy one, get one free, or sale, or just like some trigger words, sometimes your ads can get restricted. So if that happens and you can't put like your offer in here, you can just put a really simple headline in here as well. Description, I always just leave that blank. And then obviously website URL, just put your website. You don't want to just send them to Google. So just put your landing page and then turn off this. You don't want to have this on. And then obviously shop now right here. Shop now. And then that's basically it. Now all your things are set. Then you're like, oh, how do I get my second ad in there? You just come up here to your ad set level, quickly duplicate. Everything will stay the same, and then you'll just change this to ad set 2. Come down here, change this to ad 2, and then literally the only thing you're doing is you're taking out your ad 1 and then throwing your second ad in there. So basically what I'm doing is I'm only putting 1 ad in per ad set. Now I'll come back over here and I'll kind of go over some testing metrics of what to be looking for. All right, so for testing metrics, the things you want to be looking for in testing, these are the only 5 I always look for, is CPMs, which how much money is it costing you to get 1,000 views on your ad? CPC, how much is each link click costing? CTR is just click-through rate, which is the percentage of people that are clicking on your ad and landing on your website. ROAS is just return on ad spend. Add to cart is just add to cart percentage, how many people are landing on your website and adding the product to cart. So for day 1 testing for CPMs, ideally you want it to be under $40, but on day 1 testing, $50 to $60 isn't bad. If it's over $100, it could just be the product is just not good, or you're just competing against somebody who is really big in for that product and they're already spending a shit ton on meta ads, so it's really hard to come in and compete with them. This can also happen when there's like 4, 5, 6 people running the same product. Your CPMs will be super high, so just keep that in mind. For CPC, I want it to be under $2 on day 1 testing. CTR, I look for it to be around 2 to 3%. For ROAS, day 1, we're really not looking for any sales. We're just looking for this data. We're looking for all of these data points. We're not really looking for sales. This is where add to cart comes in. So obviously we're not looking for sales off the rip, but we want to see that there's actually validation in our product and that people actually want it. So we're looking for the add to cart rate to be around a 5 to 10%. This is just found on Shopify. You just go to your Shopify analytics, scroll all the way down. There'll be an add to cart percentage there. All right, we'll go to day 2 testing now. So let's say you had a decent day 1 testing. The next things you want to look for is you want to make sure that all these stats are starting to drop a little bit. So let's say you were at a $50 CPM. You want to look for that to be going down the next day. Same thing if you were at a $2 or $3 CPC, you also want to be looking for that to go down. You just want to be looking for improvements in your stats. Same thing with click-through rate. You want to make sure that that's going up. And now for ROAS, on day 2, you want to be looking for at least 1 to 2 sales. You don't need to be profitable yet, but you want to see that some people are actually going through and buying the product. Normally, you'll be looking at a 0.8 to 2.0 ROAS. So like if you're at a 0.8, obviously you're not going to be profitable. Normally break even is probably around like 1.3, 1.5, varies from product to product. That's a very product driven stat. You're not looking to be profitable. You just want to be looking that there's some type of sales and some type of validation in this product. Again, with add to cart rate, let's say you're at a 5%, you want to see it go up. So like if you're at a 5%, you want to see it be at like a 7 to 10 or higher, obviously. You just want to be looking for improvements in your stats. Now we'll go on to the final day of testing. So day 3 is always my final day of testing. This is kind of where I make my decision. Do I want to keep going with this product or do I want to cut it? So again, I want to see my CPMs drop. So now you want it to be around $30 to $40. Again, you want to see your CPC drop. So if you were at $2, you want to see it go under that. Same thing with click-through rate. Now with ROAS, now that we're at day 3 testing, you want to be break even or profitable. So you don't need to be insanely profitable, but if you're break even, so let's say if your break even ROAS is 1.3 and you're at a 1.3, that's fine, especially if this add to cart rate's going up. So let's say on this add to cart rate, you were at a 5% on day 1. Then you were at a 7% on day 2. Now you're at a 10%. You're seeing that your add to cart rate's going up. Now, the only problem that you might be having is maybe you can split test your offer, do a different offer, stuff like that. That might be the thing that will push people over the edge and make you convert higher. But this is a really good thing that would be happening if your add to cart rate's going up, even if you are at break even. If you aren't at break even or still pretty unprofitable, that can be a time where you can just kill the product and just be done with it. But sometimes there's different things that I'll look into. Maybe I'll test day 4, day 5, depending on the situation, depending on how the product's doing. But I also do want to just clarify that all these stats aren't like set in stone. Like you don't have to have these stats to keep on going with the product. Like let's say your CPMs are at like $70 to $80. But your ROAS, you're like at a 2.5 ROAS and you're extremely profitable. Obviously, keep running that product. Or let's say, again, you have the $70 to $80 CPMs, but your CPC is at like 50 cents. So you're getting traffic for super, super cheap. Again, you don't want to kill that product yet. So obviously, like a lot of things in here can change. Like if some of these stats aren't that good, like let's say this is really good, and this is really good, but your CPMs are at 100. Like let's say your click-through rate is at like 5 to 7% and your CPC is at $1 or less. Obviously you want to keep on running it. Obviously this is super high, but you're getting a lot of traffic for very cheap. And normally when you're getting a ton of traffic for very cheap and you have a good conversion rate on your store, you're going to be at a higher ROAS. So those are just kind of the testing metrics that I'll be looking at, but also just make sure to keep into account what I just said. If you're profitable and your CPMs are high, like that's still fine. You don't have to kill products just because you don't hit these numbers. This is just a rough example. Like obviously things will change product to product, but this is just a rough example of what to be looking for. All right, the next thing we'll go into, which is a big money maker in Q4, is email and SMS. Like I put right here, very important for Q4. So obviously you guys know like email and SMS, like Black Friday sales, Thanksgiving sales, Christmas sales, New Year's, Halloween, all those. It's very important to start building up your email and SMS list. So basically what I use is something called OmniSend. It's very good. It's super simple. They have a bunch of like templates. So like it doesn't make it overcomplicated, especially if you aren't working with like an email team. The things I recommend to get in right away is a welcome series email. So that will just be your pop-up where you'll give them like, put in your email, put in your number, get 10% off your first order. Another good thing is abandoned checkout and abandoned cart. So basically this is the biggest moneymaker, and this is something I didn't take seriously at the start when I first, but ever since I started adding this, I've been making a lot more money. So basically what this will do is if somebody gets a checkout or has their product in their cart and then they leave your website, it will give them an hour and then it'll send them an email and send them an SMS. Oops, I think you left something in your cart. Here's 10% off, continue to check out. Just stuff like that, recapturing the customers that are just slipping through the cracks. And obviously this is very important for Black Friday sales and stuff like that, so you can hit them with big discounts on Black Friday, like a 20% off your product, or if it's like a Christmas sale, 20% off your product. You're just hitting them with all these emails, and people are buying from them. Like, emails can literally, like, if you're doing, let's say if you're doing 100K a month, right? Emails add like 20%. With the good email flows, emails can add up to 20%. So that's an extra 20K that you're making just because you have these emails locked in. And 100K isn't, like, 100K a month isn't that hard for Q4. If you know what you're doing, you really lock in and focus, you can achieve this. And then just make sure you guys have good email flows so that you can capitalize on this extra 20% that you can get from emails. All right, the last quick thing we'll go over in this video is offers. So basically with offers, I only run these 3 offers. These are just the best 3 performing offers in e-commerce right now. Is a buy one, get one free. This is always for cheaper and smaller products. You just want to make sure it goes good with your logistics. The next one I'll run is a buy one, get one 50% off. This is really good when the buy one, get one free doesn't meet the logistics. So if it's a little bit heavier product or a little bit more expensive product and you can't price it up enough so you can sell on BOGO free, buy one, get one 50% off is another really good offer you can run. And then the best offer you can run with heavier products is a get a free X. So like if you have like a heavier product like a mop or something, or like a vacuum, you can put in, like, you'll have the mop. This is gonna be a terrible drawing, but you'll have the mop, and then you'll be like, get 3 free pads with, or get 4 free pads with your order. Obviously these pads are gonna be very cheap. Like, it'll probably be like $2 to add this one on, but your perceived value is going to go way the fuck up because they're getting more stuff for free instead of just getting this and not getting this other free stuff. So yeah, that's basically my full crash course about how you're actually going to print money in Q4 with branded dropshipping. Just make sure you take all this stuff into consideration. Like, product research is going to be a little bit different, and the product criteria you're looking for is going to be different because we're not just looking for evergreen products. We're looking for products that are seasonal and going to print during Q4. Product research is pretty similar, but just make sure that you're using this product criteria. Sourcing, if you guys do need that agent, again, it'll be just go join my free Discord and then just text me, DM me, or just send it in the chat. Pricing, I hope this makes sense. Just make sure, obviously we're running ads, so you ideally want it to be at a 4 to 5x markup, just so you can still have really good margins even though you are spending money on ads. So just keep that in mind. And then obviously make sure you guys write down this testing metrics, because this is very important. This is something you don't want to skip out on, because this will basically tell you the future of your product. So just make sure you're going over this, but obviously, like we talked about earlier, take everything with a little bit of grain of salt, because if you are really profitable and some of these stats are off, like this is 70 and maybe this is like 3, you can still be fine even if you're profitable. And then just make sure you guys get your email and SMS flows down. Just start with these 3. These are the most important ones to have. And then just make sure you're really dialing in a good offer with your product so that we can capitalize the most on this buying power. Because especially when people are literally coming to shop, they know they want the product, you're going to have an insanely high conversion rate if you also hit them with a good offer. So again, that was just a brief breakdown overview of how you're going to actually print with branded dropshipping in Q4. If you guys do want help actually being able to scale to 100K months this Q4, you can apply to work with me one-on-one. It'll be first link in the description. I'll basically just hold your hand, help you pick your products, build your store, make your ads, and basically just handheld hold you all the way to your first 100K month. So if you're interested in that, that'll be first link in the description. Also, my free Discord will be down there as well. So if you want to join that, that'll be down there as well. But yeah, boys, thank you for watching. I hope you learned something for this video. I'm fucking excited as fuck for Q4, dude. I'm ready to absolutely print this Q4. And I hope you guys are too. Don't get left behind this Q4, because I know last Q4, I fucked up bad. I did not make as much money as I needed to because I didn't have some of these things in place that I talked about in this video. Yeah, boys, again, thank you for watching. I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace out.